Hi, everyone. I'm Sima Levy from the Gold Coast Connections at Nest Seekers. Welcome. We have a great segment for you today. Without further ado, let me introduce you to our first guest, Mr. Joseph Alvarez from Nest Seekers, realtor slash actor. Bonjour.
Bonjour, how are you doing,
How are
Sima?
you? I'm doing great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into real estate?
Yeah, so as Sima said, my name is Joseph Alvarez, and I actually got into real estate a couple of years ago, around 5 years ago. My friend approached me saying, hey, I know you love HGTV and watching all these million-dollar listing shows. Have you ever thought about getting into real estate? And I said, of course, like this is I've always dreamed about getting into real estate. How do I even do it? And then he showed me the way that he did it, and then 5 years later, here I am. It's been an amazing journey, to say the least.
Can you share a little bit of what he taught you?
Well, he taught me a little bit, such as just building connection, and your network is your net worth. Literally building such connections with people that are wiser than me, have a bigger bank account than me,
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be. It goes a long way. You have two ears and one mouth for a reason.
I actually love that saying. Your network is
Your
your
net
net
worth
worth.
100%
I love that. Okay, America, your network
is
is
your
your
net
net
worth.
worth. Excellent. Thank you, Joseph. So, Joseph, I really do love what you said, and it got me to thinking. How do you feel that real estate changed in the last 5 years, let's say?
Oof. So real estate is not what it used to be. I think we all know that. We have a whole pandemic to prove it.
Oh, well, that's true.
But my biggest thing is real estate is more of a show now more than anything. Down to so many more real estate shows and podcasts coming out. Real estate is more of an experience. As we know, you could buy real estate from anybody. We all have the same license. But the experience that you provide down to what you wear, are you wearing the Gucci, the red bottoms, that's the experience that people look for.
So, which got me to thinking, before I ask you another serious question, what are you wearing today?
Well, listen, of course I have, a little bit of Gucci. Yeah,
Gucci's,
some diamonds,
Gucci's.
but that's beyond the point. We make great money in this industry. We're commission based, but it's something where the experience that we give our clients, that's what matters the most. That's what we need to focus on, and that's what really makes real estate different now than 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, people would focus on the property itself more. Now it's more of the experience. Does it look like Selling Sunset, like how people see on Netflix?
Interesting.
Does it look like,
So the show is it actually creates credibility.
Yeah.
So that's very, very interesting that you said that, because I do recall back in the days when my parents bought their probably second or third home, going into, let's say, a Century 21 and just looking at a realtor and said, hey, I need a home. Yeah. I don't even think that happens today any longer, where you just walk into.
No, I mean, it's so rare. Like, of course, we have our 505 Park Avenue office.
Gorgeous.
Of course. We have a 100 Riverside office, which is, it's on the front, so that way people could actually come in. And it's rare. It still does happen to like our older generation. But now people see the online presence, and that's what people like to see. Does this agent going to give me that experience where I could post it on Instagram?
Correct.
And do this whole show or a podcast? Or do I have a film crew when I'm buying my first home? That's the experience that the modern buyer wants to have.
Which is very interesting, because speaking of Selling Sunset, does all those deals actually happen on Selling Sunset?
Let me let you
plead the fifth.
I have to plead the fifth. Yeah, we have to plead the fifth.
We plead the fifth.
On stuff like that. Yeah.
But what I find really cool is that networking, that's why we're Gold Coast Connection, actually also helps. I mean, we're with Contour Mortgage in their studio. We're Nest Seekers, but collaborating and actually merging will create opportunities. Do you find that to be true?
100%. Even partnering with Contour Mortgage and just all of the different partners that we have, that's how you grow. Like how we said before, what is it? Your network is your net worth.
I love that.
So being able to connect with different groups and just building each other's business, because that's what it's all about.
The butterfly connection as well with my girl.
My
girl, Maria. Tell America, what do realtors rely on today?
Well,
for business.
Most realtors, like we discussed before, rely on social media and their online presence to kind of give their buyers and renters that biggest experience. But another thing, sometimes when something works, you don't have to really change it. Most of my business I get from actually cold calling, believe it or not.
Wow.
That old tradition of calling a for sale by owner and convincing them that they need to list with you to get the right buyer. And even down to sending postcards and letters, stuff like that still works to this day, believe it
That's
or not.
amazing. So going to door today is allowed once again. I know we were on pause during the pandemic, and we protected, the average homeowners, all homeowners. But now you could go door to door and just put a little gift by the door,
Present
a little
yourself.
pamphlet. Old school is still good, right?
Yeah. If it works, you don't have to change it.
If it's not broken,
if it's not broken, you don't have to change it. There you go.
Okay, I love that. Okay, Joseph, I really do appreciate that. New realtors, don't get discouraged. The old is still good. And then you're going to rely on your social media as you build your clientele and your network, because it will be your net worth.
Yeah.
Really fast, favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. I would have to say Wolf of Wall Street, maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, we're commission based, just kind of like how he was. So
correct.
It really kind of shows us, where do people draw their boundaries when it comes to morality. I know, we're all commission based, so the more you sell, the more money you make, the more of a lifestyle you get to live that you want. But
you want more and more and more.
Yeah, you want more and more and more. But where do you draw that line?
So how do you find that boundary?
Well, we have fiduciary duties as real estate agents that we always have to follow. And where you find that boundary is, how would I want for example, if I wasn't licensed, how would I want an agent to treat me? How would I want that experience? I wouldn't want somebody to lie to me and tell me a whole story just to try to get a deal done.
Yes.
That's not how it works. Because at the end of the day, it always backfires on you. And as we can see in that movie, clearly.
Yeah.
But I would have to say that's the biggest lesson I learned from that movie. Just
that's
morality.
Amazing.
And where do you draw that line?
I actually love that, which makes me think that my favorite movie is Pretty Woman, because she drew the line. She wanted the fairy tale. Pretty Woman it is for me.
That's great.
Okay, so Joseph.
Yeah.
The biggest lesson learned.
Biggest lesson learned in regards to real estate?
Life, real estate.
I mean, my biggest lesson is, in life, just don't burn any bridges. We live in a world where, it's so quick, where I can change my opportunities in a second. It takes one deal to make or break an agent. I could sell a $17 million house today, a $150 million house today, and make $3 million. But do I let go of everybody else that I've met along the way that's helped me get to that point?
I love that.
And that's the biggest thing. You always want to bring everybody else up with you, because the champagne can be cold enough for everybody.
Correct.
And also, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes we want to abandon ship just because we make more money or we're at a higher position in life. And I think that we really need to focus on just bringing everybody up as a community and being able to help each other out.
I love that. I like together we stand.
Yeah.
Actually, words of wisdom from right here from Mr. Joseph Alvarez.
Yeah.
So Joseph, I got to thinking, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
The question of time.
So, should one sell their home before buying a home, or the other way around?
Sima, that's a difficult question. Sometimes it depends on the situation, really. As we know, there's a 1031 exchange, and as for our viewers that don't know what that is, essentially,
tell them.
From the house that you buy, that you're going to buy, you're going to sell your old house, and they give you a little time frame in order for you to sell that, and you don't have to pay your capital taxes and stuff like that. When you buy from that sale, you could just put it towards the new property.
Correct.
So if you are planning to do something like that, then 100% I suggest it. You get to have that little tax haven. But for most people, it really depends, because a lot of people want to keep it as an investment property as well. So whatever makes sense for you, I would say.
I like that advice. Thank you. So I would say buy, sell together at the same time.
As long as it's with us.
As long as it's with us, awesome. Contour mortgage. Question. Because when I went to buy my wedding dress, don't ask me what happened after, but when I went to buy my wedding dress, It was literally the first one I tried on that I bought. And that was it. I didn't look at anything else. That was it for me. Fast.
I think I know where we're going.
Yes. So we've been getting a lot of questions. How many homes should one view before purchasing their dream home?
Well, kind of like your wedding dress. You know, it's funny. Statistics actually show people always go with the first home that they see
Interesting.
because it's something that's the one that you always wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. And that's what you look on Zillow or Street Easy, whatever the case may be. So I would say at least see 5 to 10 just to make sure that that's exactly what you want to see. I would say 5 is like that sweet spot just to kind of confirm your original thoughts.
Yes.
But always people just go for that first one usually.
Yeah.
And if not, if you want to start seeing like the 10 and the 15 and the 20, then you're just shopping around and you're not really.
Then you're comparing boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's always just to go with the first one. It makes everyone's life easier too.
Yes. So the first one that speaks to your heart.
Yes. Because sometimes, I mean, when you know, you know. You
When
just
you
walk
know,
in
you know.
and you're just like, this is home.
I love that. When you know, you know.
Yep.
This is home. So Joseph,
Yeah.
I know I've been interviewing you, but is there a question that you wish that I have asked you? And how would you answer it?
You know, maybe this. So we know each other very well.
Yeah.
And I'm actually fairly young for, in this industry. I'm only around like 23 years old. So.
Shh. Don't talk about age.
So, maybe the question could have been, in a world where people are making their biggest life choice, which is buying a home, how do you get people to trust you at such a young age?
Correct. And you know what? It's really amazing that you said that because we were talking about this on our last podcast. How do you get people to trust you? So I think that age should not be spoken. That's my rule.
Yeah.
And I've said it in my last segment. You don't say how old you are. I am half French. My mom said, you don't reveal your age. Never, never. So whether you're my age, your age, our producer's age, no matter what age, you don't say your age. You let your actions and your experience, whether you have experience of a year or 2 years, whether you excelled and elevated yourself,
100%.
that's how you're going to showcase your presence in the industry. Also, what you said, who you work with, gives you that leverage, right?
100%.
So networking is your net worth till you become of age. However, speaking to you, and when you told me your age when you first gave me the revelation, not today, I couldn't believe it because you're beyond your years. So age really goes to show you that doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It doesn't
it's
matter.
really just the experience and what you bring to the table. When you go into a room, and the biggest thing that someone taught me was listen. Listen. When you go into a room with other people, just listen the way that people talk. People will talk and tell you their whole life story, and you learn from them. You learn from their mistakes. You learn from the things that they've done.
Correct.
Because you're not going to be the wisest person in the room. And that's how I like to carry myself afterwards, that anywhere I go. I can go into a room and I can have a conversation with you about almost anything. Mm-hmm. When we met in California at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And you let your experience and your knowledge really dictate the room. You don't let the age get in the way.
I love that. From the mouth of babes.
Yeah.
You heard that here first. Love that. Thank you, Joseph. So we just received a few questions from the last segment that we have done. I'm going to choose one. Actually, one was chosen by our producers, and I'm going to read the question, which actually, if anyone else has a question after seeing this segment, please write down below your questions. We'll make sure to answer them one by one if we can by next segment. So here we go. This comes to us from Megan in Westchester. Megan writes, I'm 27 years old, successful small business owner. Is it better to buy a home now or when I get married? Ooh, loaded question. I know what I would say. Joseph, do you want to go first?
I would say maybe buy it on your own first. Really kind of separate your assets. And it depends on if it's an investment property, buy it under an LLC. That way you kind of protect yourself.
LLC?
That's kind of like the little secret that people don't really know. When you buy things under an LLC, it kind of separates your assets from your personal individual. So if, God forbid, the case that you ever get sued or whatever the case may be, you still protect your assets.
Mm.
And you don't really want to, mingle a lot of things together.
I get you. Wow, no, that's actually very good advice. What I would say, it's amazing that you can buy a home before you're even 30 years old. I do agree with you as far as protecting yourself. However, there is something very beautiful about building together in a marriage. So what I do recommend is once you find your partner, your future husband or partner, please get a really good real estate attorney. Buy a home. I do believe in investing.
Yeah.
Buy a home. Get a real estate attorney. You find your person. Get a prenup. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. You get a prenup, and the prenup takes away the headache, right? And on a personal note, when I first got married very young, in my 20s, we don't discuss age, but in my 20s, there was something very beautiful where my salary went to paying 2 car leases and the mortgage, and then the husband's went to investment and savings. So it was actually really nice. You could achieve all of that. Don't take the romance out of the marriage. Prenup does not do that. But just get yourself a great real estate attorney and buy that home, girl. Good for you. For any other questions, please write down below. We will make sure to answer them, whether in an email, a text message, if you provide your number, or on our next segment. For now, I am Sima Levy from Nest Seekers, Gold Coast Connections, and Contour Mortgage. It was a pleasure to be here with Joseph Alvarez, actor, realtor, Nest Seeker. You were a pleasure, good friend of mine.
Thank you.
And
feel free to follow my social media that's under us right now.
Follow Joseph, and ciao. See you later.